Ontario, California. We will have the United Inland Empire Conservative Conference 2019. Guest speakers, special guests, and also AM 590, The Answer Radio. We have Tommy Lahren, we have Larry Elder, Charlie Kirk, Pastor Jack Hibbs, and others. Everybody's here. No, you're fine. You can show me that hat. It's totally cool. Wearing the Make American Great Again hats and dressed nice, and it's going to be awesome.
Day one, but here we are, November 9th, 2016, with President-elect Donald J. Trump. So why did everyone get it so wrong? Well, I'll tell you why. They don't get us. They don't get everyday Americans. See, they thought they could shame us with their labels. Yeah, for them we were the racists, the Islamophobes, the sexists, the homophobes, the bigots, the deplorable, irredeemable rednecks with no education and no voice. Well, they were wrong.
Agenda. It is my pleasure to welcome to the stage Tommy Lahren.
I gotta tell you, it's good to be in the Inland Empire because there's actually some conservatives here and they're not afraid to show it. I don't know. Caravans that's headed right this way. It's reported to be 10,000 strong and they're busing them to your border. I was with Donald Trump. I think, why stop there? Bus them all the way in and put them right in Hollywood, put them in Beverly Hills, put them in San Francisco. Do it Laura Limerden, put them right in Nancy Pelosi's backyard. Let them see that up close and personal. I love to see that, especially in these really nice areas, in Beverly Hills and West Hollywood, the Hollywood Hills, when these rich celebrities are walking their little Yorkies out to take a shit, and all of a sudden there's an encampment. Guess what? You now have an illegal immigrant encampment on your front step right by your flippin' Trader Joe's. Enjoy. Your Whole Foods now, there's gonna be a tent city out right outside of that. Enjoy that. Oh, they would change their minds real quick, people. They would change their minds really quick. If someone's gonna get a paycheck out of this, just remember, I'm Native American. No, you're not. But that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna use identity politics. They're gonna use free things. So they're gonna use entitlements, again, reparations. They're gonna use free healthcare, free college, and they're gonna talk about raising the minimum wage. That's another thing they're gonna use. Identity politics, free things. They're gonna use fake news. They tried so hard to make Russia happen. They tried so hard to make that happen. But they're not gonna let it go. And you and I can say, well, yeah, the report says no obstruction of justice, no collusion. You and I can see that. A reasonable American can see that. People that watch CNN and MSNBC, they don't see that because they are still trying to make this a thing. They're still gonna twist the words as much as they can to make Donald Trump look guilty. So that's what they are gonna continue to push is Russia, collusion, Mueller report, constantly. So they're going to use identity politics, free things, fake news, rule changes. They already want to get rid of the Electoral College. So that's another way in which they're going to try to win is through changing the rules because that's what you need to do when you're so far behind. I'll tell you that AR-15 or AR whatever stands for assault rifle. Please educate them. It does not stand for assault rifle. There are a lot of conservatives who don't know that as well. So please, if there's nothing else you remember today, when someone says AR-15, that's an assault rifle, AR, you tell them that's not what it stands for. It stands for Armalite rifle. That's a company that made that type of weapon. It is not assault rifle. Please. They will never know. I'm gonna look it up. It was the 1950s. I believe it was 1956. Armalite. Armalite's a company. It's not assault. So I hope I leave you with a vocabulary word. I hope that you all enjoy it. I know you have a lot of other great speakers. I'm going to have Brandon up here in a little bit, and him and I are going to talk as well. Thank you guys so much for being here. Keep fighting. Keep fighting for California. We need you. Yeah!
Big round of applause for Tommy Lahren. She is fantastic, and so much politics, we have to fight back, and we have to talk to...
I will go wherever Tommy Lahren tells me to go.
Hashtag me too.
All right, so I was up here just a little bit ago and trying to talk about, California and what we need to do to bring this state back. So Brandon doesn't live in California, but he's considering moving to California. So he asked me, Tommy, you live in California. Can you live here? Can you manage it here? Are people mean to you? How do they receive you? And I'm like, Brandon, you live in New York. So basically it's the same thing for you. And you probably pay about the same in taxes, so move somewhere where it's warm. So that's really my advice. I said if you're coming from Texas and you're like, hey, I want to give all my tax dollars to illegal immigrants and a secondary excise tax on gasoline, I would say maybe not. But since you're from New York, you get the gist. So Brandon and I have been friends for all Americans.
Yes.
So, as someone who is a Donald Trump supporter, getting into 2020, I'm often asked, do I think that there is a contender that we should be most nervous of? If you had to pick one, and again, they're not a very threatening bunch, they don't even know their own ethnicities at this point,
Right.
but they're not a very threatening bunch in my opinion. But is there one or two that you think, number one will be the nominee, or number two could actually pose a threat to Donald Trump?
I'm going to start with your second question. I don't believe that any of them pose a threat to Donald Trump. I don't believe that, but That being said, let's not get cocky. Because I've lost this game before, but bear in mind, this is the part where everyone boos me and I love it. I voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Thank you.
Hold on, I have to make a joke here.
God, that
I
feels
gotta
good.
jump in on this joke. At least you're a gay man voting for Hillary Clinton. When I see straight men vote for Hillary Clinton, I'm like, what? I'm so confused by that. When I see like a straight man like, I voted for Hillary, I'm like, I wouldn't tell that to girls. Because the girls that you're gonna tell that to that are gonna be impressed walk around in pink hats and scream like death to men. So it's not gonna get you far. On that message. As conservatives, the root word is conserve. I think that there are not many conservatives who want to see the environment trashed. Nobody does. We believe in recycling, we believe in reusing, we believe in being able to cut down where we can cut down. I think where you lose a lot of conservatives is when they believe in a global mandate or something that's going to be job killing for the sake of we're going to bring the temperature down a tenth of a degree in 600 years. That's where you lose a lot of conservatives. I also know because I come from the Midwest, as you do. A lot of people don't know that you're from Nebraska. So,
neighboring states.
Yeah, I'm from Dakota. So, again, the gay man and the blonde. I'm from South Dakota. Nebraska. There we go. Really, I'm only just doing this job until I can be a real housewife of Hooks.
Me too.
This is exactly. First of all, we're not going to eliminate cow fires because you're eliminating an entire industry of people that depend upon that. And California is an agricultural state too, which a lot of people forget. But when we talk about eliminating entire industries, it's like you tell those coal workers, like, yeah, we don't think your industry is good for the environment, so we just want to wipe you out. You'll just find something else to do. Right. What's funny to me is like illegal immigrants aren't even told that they need to come to the country the right way, but coal workers who have been doing that for generations in their family are just told, find something else to do.
Right, exactly.
You don't even have to learn English, but we should just find something else to do. We'll retrain you to work on somewhere else. How condescending and rude to talk to those people that make their living that way and feed their families that way.
Or the millions of farmers and ranchers as well. That it's evil to raise cattle for the beef industry. My dad's a cattle rancher, so I know this one well.
That's what we have in common because I come from a ranching family as well. But I think that there are areas where we can discuss things like that. We can say, just so we are clear, conservatives are for the environment, want to protect the environment. We just don't believe in outrageous mandates. That are going to be job killing that aren't proven to actually help the environment.
Right. Well, and I think that for a lot of conservatives too, and again, I find this very understandable, it's like mentally a door gets shut the moment we start talking about things like settled science. Liberals will say, oh, it's settled science. Global warming, it's settled science. And it's like, It really isn't, you know, and there's a larger discussion to be had, there's a larger debate to be had. Don't tell me that we have to start imposing regulations and this and that because the science is settled on CO2 emissions and things like this. You know, I mean, there is a more ongoing conversation, and I think that's where conservatives begin to shut down a little bit on the environmental conversation as well.
Yeah.
We have mass shootings, and I think, can we at least acknowledge that that's a problem, that we have this horrible problem of shootings in this country? Okay. So that's where, to me, I feel like conservatives are dropping the ball on our messaging and the conversation. Because liberals become hysterical, and they say, oh my God, we had another shooting, we need to take everyone's guns away, and we need to ban this, and we need to outlaw that. And I love Tucker Carlson. He's one of my favorite debaters. I looked at Tucker Carlson. I looked at Tucker Carlson, especially at this, you know, I was only red-pilled about a year and a half ago. I'm still on my journey, you know, of learning. I still have a lot of catching up to do in terms of like, you know, really educating myself thoroughly on the issues and stuff. So I looked at people like Tucker Carlson, who I think are brilliant. And even Tucker Carlson's message mostly seems to be, well, what do you suggest? What do you suggest we do? And, you know, liberals never have an answer besides take everything away. But I'm like, you know, our messaging has to be better than, I know you are, but what am I? You know, like, we have a problem with shootings in this country, and I don't claim to know what the answer is, but I think that if conservatives could even budge and say, look, we're not going to, you know, give our guns away to anybody. We're not going to repeal it.
Thank you all. Thank you guys.
There we go. All right, we need some. No move. Keep going. Keep going. 2020's coming. It's coming. The Inland Empire is going to be on fire. We're going to get people to walk away. All right. Thank you, Brandon, for being here. Oh yeah, do a selfie the other way. This
Personal responsibility in government. He's also a lawyer, but we like him anyway. Please help me welcome Mr. Larry Elder to the stage.
With representation, this is so cool, on over 1,400 high school and college campuses nationwide and over 150 full-time staff members, Turning Point USA is the largest and fastest growing conservative youth activist organization in the country.
He's a writer on Fox News, he's a columnist for The Hill. Charlie is the best-selling author of Campus Battlefield. He is waging that war with his organization, Turning Point USA. Give it up for Charlie Cook.
University of Missouri, nothing controversial has ever happened at the University of Missouri, right? University of South Dakota, Nashville. I was at the rally last night. How great was that rally, right? I was at the rally last night with almost all ambition. Goes to a local community college, changes his gender, becomes a local community organizer, and says, there's no such thing as Hogwarts, it's such a horrible thing. Goes on this weird meandering path that we have to feel sorry for him, and he becomes a victim for the rest of the movie, and it kind of ends on a weird melancholy note. That is Harry Potter according to the American left. It's a boring, horrible story where ours is heroic, it's facing challenges, it's overcoming obstacles. It's not forming local community groups and, you know, like, oh, picketing and protesting. We have the stories because we have the values on our side. And the worst performing movies that the left puts out are the ones that are actually the ones that embrace their very value system. So that's the third way that you can take over culture, and they've done that is through the storytelling. The fourth way, and this is where I spend almost all my time, is I make the argument that the fourth way actually is the only one that foundationally influences the other three. The stories matter, information matters, family matters, all that. But the one that is the screwdriver is the college campuses, academia, high schools, elementary schools, and college campuses. That's the one where, and I think everyone would agree with this, you could get the three right. You could have a nuclear family where you read the Bible every day and you go to church. You can have all the correct media consumption, you can have all the correct movie watching, and then you send that kid out who's a conservative to UCLA, and he comes back by Thanksgiving and says, this is not Thanksgiving, it's National Indigenous Peoples Day. And did you really, are we eating turkey? That's not vegan? Did you ask the turkey permission before killing it? By the way, we're all so privileged. We're privileged! This is what they do, and I'm sure all of you have seen this, right? You send a kid off to college, and it comes back a social justice activist. And just because you're in prison. So should prisoners be able to own guns in prison? Maybe have pistols? Should prisoners be able to peacefully assemble wherever they want in the prison at any time? Should they be able to have protests against the warden? That's a First Amendment right. Should prisoners not allow a prison guard to walk into their cell at any time? That's a Fourth Amendment right. And here's the kicker. And here's the one that anyone in media, this is the one that I've been saying and I've been tweeting out. Bernie Sanders says, well, we cannot remove them from the Democrat process. Sounds good, right? Sounds really good. But wait, Bernie, if you don't want to remove someone from the Democrat process, that means they can vote. Yes. Does that mean they can also run for office while they're in prison? Think about it. Some of these rural towns, the prison is the population. They could have their own mayor. They could run for Congress. They could vote themselves out of prison. And this position, which might be the stupidest position I've seen out of the Democrat clown show so far, and it's only April. It's like, to put it in 2016 terms, Trump still had not announced for another 7 weeks, just so you understand where we are in the cycle of calendar. And this is how you know it's the position of gravity. This is where you know it's the center of gravity. The entire Democrat field, oh yes, I agree, that prisoners should be able to vote. Absolutely, yes, 100%. Yeah, every single one of them. As soon as Bernie has a position, they all agree. That's how you know where the center of gravity is. But how did this happen? It happened for two big reasons, and this is not talked about enough. Number one, the universities have been corrupting the minds of our youth, and they've been accelerating. The universities today are worse than they were 10 years ago. They're worse than they were 5 years ago. They're worse than they were 2 years ago. They're worse than they were one. They've become so militant and so brazen and so committed to the destruction of this country they don't care anymore. It's worse. I've been doing this for 6.5 years now. It's worse today than it was a year ago. It's worse today than it was 2 years ago. And I'm not talking about the students. I think we're winning more students today than we ever have. I'm talking about the culture. I'm talking about the professors. I'm talking about the administration. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Now, that's the first reason. And of course, all the other cultural reasons. But here's the second big reason. And this is why Joe Biden is going to lose in a beautifully tragic Shakespearean way. It really will. It's going to be one of the most... Honestly, I can't wait to see it because I don't think he's a very good person. Okay? I really don't. But... This is the part that no one talks about. Donald Trump committed an act of theft against the Democrat Party. He stole their traditional blue-collar base away from them. Think about it. Think about it. So Donald Trump stole away their registered Democrats that were coal miners, that were Catholic value voters, that Reagan Democrats in Ohio that honestly looked at Mitt Romney and Barack Obama and were, might have stayed home or they might have just voted for Obama because Mitt Romney was not exactly the most compelling candidate of our time. Oh my gosh. I could do a whole routine on him too, but I won't.